Once upon a time, there was a man named Samuel. He loved his wife Grace with all his heart. They had a sweet little girl named Glory. Their home was filled with laughter and love. Samuel and Grace would often play with Glory, and she would giggle as they chased her around the house. One day, something very sad happened. Grace, who was always so kind and happy, became very sick. The doctors tried their best to help her, but soon, Grace went to sleep forever. Samuel and Glory missed her so much. It felt like a big hole was left in their hearts. Samuel, though very sad, promised to take care of little Glory. He wanted to be strong for her because he knew Glory needed him more than ever. They held each other close, trying to fill their days with love and memories of Grace. After Grace passed away, Samuel tried his best to make Glory happy. He played with her every day, took her to the park, and even learned how to braid her hair like her mother used to do. Father and daughter became the best of friends. They would laugh and play, trying to forget the sadness. But as the days went by, Samuel began to feel lonely. He missed having a partner, someone to share his life with. He loved Glory very much, but sometimes it felt hard to be both a father and mother at the same time. Samuel thought maybe one day, he could find someone else to love them both. One day, while buying medicine at the local pharmacy, Samuel met a woman named Good News. She was kind and beautiful, and Samuel felt a special connection with her right away. Samuel couldn't stop thinking about Good News. Every time he went to the pharmacy, he looked forward to seeing her bright smile. She was not only beautiful but also very smart. Samuel decided to talk to her more, and they soon became friends. One day, Samuel invited Good News to his home for dinner. He wanted her to meet his daughter, Glory. He was a little nervous, but he hoped that Glory would like Good News. When Good News arrived, she was very kind to Glory, bringing her a small toy as a gift. Glory smiled shyly and thanked her. Samuel watched as they played together and felt happy. Maybe, just maybe, Good News could be the person to bring joy back into their lives. As time went on, Samuel and Good News spent more and more time together. They laughed and shared stories, and it wasn't long before Samuel realized he was falling in love with her. Good News also seemed to care for both Samuel and Glory. Glory liked Good News too. She enjoyed having her around, and she felt safe when Good News held her hand. Samuel was happy that his daughter was getting along with her. He began to think that Good News might be the person who could make their family whole again. One evening, as they sat together after dinner, Samuel looked into Good News' eyes and said, "Will you marry me?" Good News smiled and said yes. Samuel's heart filled with joy, and he hugged her tightly, thinking about their future together. Samuel and Good News got married in a small, beautiful ceremony. Glory wore a pretty dress, and she couldn't stop smiling. She was happy to have someone who cared about her and her dad. Everyone who came to the wedding shared for their happiness. After the wedding, Good News moved into their home. She decorated Glory's room with bright colors and toys, and she made sure Glory felt loved. Samuel felt so relieved. He thought they could finally live happily ever after. But what Samuel didn't know was that deep down, Good News had other plans. She smiled on the outside, but inside, she was feeling jealous. She wanted all of Samuel's love for herself, and she didn't like how much attention he gave to Glory. At first, everything seemed perfect. Good News acted like a loving wife and a kind stepmother. Whenever Samuel was around, she smiled and treated Glory nicely. Samuel was happy, thinking his family was now complete. But when Samuel wasn't around, Good News changed. She started to become harsh with Glory. She would tell her to stop being noisy or to clean up her toys in a mean voice. Glory was confused. She didn't understand why Good News was suddenly being so unkind. One day, Good News pulled Glory's ear because she didn't clean her room fast enough. "You need to listen better," she said angrily. Glory cried quietly but didn't tell her dad. She didn't want to make Samuel sad or cause any trouble. As days passed, Good News' behavior became worse. She would scold Glory for the smallest mistakes, like spilling water or forgetting to close the door. Sometimes, she even made Glory do chores that were too hard for her, like sweeping the entire house or carrying heavy things. Glory's little heart was full of sadness, but she stayed silent. She loved her father and didn't want to hurt him. She saw how happy Samuel was with good news, and she didn't want to take that away from him. So, she pretended to be happy when her dad was around, always putting on a smile. But when Samuel was gone, Glory would hide in her room and cry. She missed her real mother, Grace, and wished things could go back to the way they were. Sometimes, she would whisper to her mom in the sky, hoping that somehow she could help her. Samuel was so busy with work that he didn't notice how much Glory was suffering. He thought Good News was taking good care of his daughter. Whenever he came home, Good News would smile and act like everything was fine. "Is everything okay, Glory?" Samuel would ask with a warm smile. "Yes, Daddy," Glory would reply, even though she felt so sad inside. She didn't want to worry him. Samuel was trying so hard to be a good father, and she didn't want to make him upset. Good News, however, became more jealous every time Samuel showed Glory love. She wanted all his attention for herself. She wanted their future children to be the only ones who mattered, not Glory. So, she started planning something much worse. As time passed, Good News grew more angry and jealous. She didn't like that Samuel always paid attention to Glory, even though she pretended to love her when he was around. Deep inside, Good News wanted Samuel to care only about her and the children they might have together. One night, when Samuel was awake, Good News looked at Glory and said, "You think you're special, but soon, it will just be me and your dad. He loves me more." Glory was scared, but she didn't say a word. She wanted to believe that Good News would change, that things would get better. But things only got worse. Good News started being even more mean to Glory. She gave her extra chores, made her eat alone, and even stopped talking to her kindly. Little Glory cried herself to sleep almost every night, missing her real mother and wishing Samuel could see the truth. One day, after school, something terrible happened. As Glory was walking home, she suddenly felt very weak. Her legs shook, and before she knew it, she had fallen to the ground. A kind stranger saw her and rushed her to the hospital. The doctors called Samuel and Good News right away. Samuel was so worried when he got the call. He rushed to the hospital, his heart pounding in fear. "Please be okay," he whispered to himself. Good News came too, acting sad and worried in front of Samuel. At the hospital, the doctors ran tests but couldn't find anything wrong with Glory. "She must be stressed from school," the doctor said. "Make sure she rests more." Samuel was relieved to hear that Glory would be okay. He promised to spend more time with her, taking her on walks and playing her favorite games. What he didn't know was that Good News was angry. Every moment Samuel spent with Glory made her more jealous. As Glory started to feel better, Samuel was happy to see his daughter smiling again. He thought their family was healing. He even told Good News that he wanted to have another child with her. Good News pretended to be excited, but deep inside, her jealousy grew. She couldn't stand the idea of Glory being around forever. Good News wanted her own children to be the only ones Samuel cared about. So, she came up with a terrible plan, something that would get rid of Glory for good. One morning, Good News gave Glory a special pill. "This will help you feel better," she said with a fake smile. Glory trusted her and took the pill. Soon after, Glory started to feel very sleepy. She didn't know that the pill was dangerous. Good News was trying to make her go into a deep sleep, one that no one could wake her from. 2 weeks after Samuel told Good News he wanted another child, a terrible event shook their world again. While Samuel was walking, he received a call from Glory's school. "Mr. Samuel, the principal said Glory has fainted, and we can't wake her up. She's on her way to the hospital now." Samuel's heart raced as he jumped into his car, speeding to the hospital. When he arrived, the doctor looked serious. "I'm sorry, but we couldn't save her," he said quietly. "Your daughter has passed away." Samuel fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Good News, who was at the hospital too, pretended to cry, but inside, she felt relief. Her evil plan had worked, and now she could finally have Samuel all to herself. The day of Glory's funeral was filled with sorrow. Friends, family, and neighbors gathered to say their final goodbyes. Samuel was heartbroken, standing next to the tiny coffin that held his precious daughter. As he looked at Glory one last time, something strange happened. He thought he saw Glory's lips move. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and share this video. Bye.